much for speaking with ANI. So I'll begin by asking you, how do you look at the Russian president's India visit, given the fact that it would be his first visit to India after the Russia-Ukraine war? And what are your expectations from the visit?
His visit is a reaffirmation of our long-standing, deep-rooted and multifaceted partnership, and this is taking place amidst shifting global dynamics. It also, in a sense, asserts our strategic autonomy because it shows that our foreign policy positioning and decisions are based on our own national interest and are not subject to external pressures. So it is an affirmation of our independent and pragmatic foreign policy approach.
Right. So, how should India balance its engagement with Russia alongside its growing ties with the United States and other Western powers, and with Trump being in power again and his tariff threats? How significant will this visit be?
Well, I think it would be an important one because, as you well know, strategic autonomy and multi-alignment are cornerstones of our contemporary foreign policy tradition, and we take pride in our independence of judgment and action. And we engage with all powers on the basis of our own national interests, not outside pressures or outside bloc politics. So we favor a multipolar, a polycentric world, and it is in that context that we need to see, one, this visit, and two, how our ties are growing with USA and with Russia and with other Western nations. As regards Trump being in power and his tariffs, a transactional Washington, in fact, increases the value of our having diversified partnerships. The tariffs that are being imposed are really unilateral efforts. Normally, these would have been worked out through the WTO system, but that option is not there anymore. And let's see how they end up. But the intention is not to create problems, but to find solutions which are helpful to our relations, both with Russia and with USA.
Right. So you have served as an ambassador to Moscow, and during your ambassadorship, defense cooperation between India and Russia transitioned from largely buyer seller to more joint research production. And since Russia has historically been a key defense partner for India, how do you see defense collaboration evolving now, particularly with India's focus on self reliance and indigenization?
Well, our defense cooperation is a legacy relationship. It has been an important component of our ties for over 6.5 decades. And it has evolved over time, as you pointed out, from a buyer-seller framework. Even when I was there, we had started joint design, research, development, and production of advanced defense technologies and systems. As you know, we manufacture Russian weapon systems under license, the Su-30 MKI, the T-90S, the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, and the latter is actually a great example of a world-class weapon and a practical example of Make in India, and undertaken in cooperation with Russia. So we must remember also that we get access to sensitive Russian technologies and special materials, and this has enhanced our security. At the same time, when we look at defense cooperation in recent years, our important partners have also been USA, France. Even in the past, whether we had Jaguars or Mirages or Bofors or systems from other countries beyond Russia, we always went for what we thought was the best at that moment in time. And I think this should continue. And even now, if you look at it, we need to examine offers that are there in a very hard-headed manner, bearing in mind that we are much better off manufacturing domestically ourselves. So one would look at the quality, the price, the technology being transferred, spares availability. All of these become very important. And in some cases, if it's a very advanced system, like the thinking of a fifth generation fighter or something, then you may want to pick up a few examples to learn the technology, to better understand what is happening, or to manufacture them also domestically till your own system falls in place. So I see all of that being explored by our defense ministry and our authorities. They will reach the right decision, no doubt. And I do believe that it will help us in uh, indigenizing and becoming more self-sufficient or Atmanirbhar in our defense sector. I think that's very important because, we cannot talk of strategic autonomy if a large proportion of our defense requirements of sophisticated weapons are imported from any country, be it Russia or USA or France or Israel or anywhere. So it's the right approach that we indigenize, it's the right approach that we do so with technologies made available to us, and let's see how that goes.
Right. So talking about trade and energy cooperation, which has been a cornerstone of India-Russia relations, what areas hold the most potential for growth today, according to you? And how can India navigate global sanctions on Russia to maintain a smooth economic engagement, particularly in oil, gas, and critical technologies?
Well, we have long-standing and deep-rooted cooperation with Russia in many of these sectors, including oil and gas. We have invested something like $18 billion worth in Russian oil and gas. And equally, Russian companies, Rosneft, for example, through Nayara, has invested a big amount in India. And certainly, they are being faced by sanctions which are affecting decision making, but these are unilateral sanctions imposed by USA. Frankly, nothing demands that you accede to them. But the reality is that the companies that come under sanctions are private sector companies who have linkages with USA and therefore feel compelled to comply with them, or even PSUs. And PSUs also have public ownership. They are not complete government, 100% government companies. So even they have to bear in mind the implications in terms of the access to technologies, etc., that may be denied to them, or problems created for them if they do not observe sanctions. But this is no reason for us to hesitate. We should look first to our national interests. If it is in our national interest to have a particular item or import a particular thing, we should do so. We should seek exemptions from the Americans. As you can see, all these tariffs that they are trying to impose on the whole world, in fact, they started with all 193 countries. These are meant really to pressurize an arm twist. And so this is part of the negotiation. This is part of normal diplomacy and give and take. I used to be Minister of Commerce in Washington, and this is what we used to do with the then Republican setup, talk about how much tariffs on which item and what we can reduce or maybe not. And that was part of normal give and take. So it isn't that we should get worried to the extent that we say, oh, the tariffs are there and therefore we have to run away. We should find solutions, as we say, through dialogue and diplomacy. That's what diplomacy is all about.
Right. Just a last question. Since this would be Putin's first visit after Russia-Ukraine war, and we saw that India has always advocated for peace and dialogue between the two countries, and Prime Minister Modi, in fact, has also said that this is not an era of war. What role do you think that India would play when it comes to this war, and how it would turn out during Putin's visit?
Well, we have no role in that war, nor should we have one. We would like it to end peacefully. It's in the interest of both countries. We have repeatedly pointed out the importance of dialogue and diplomacy. And actually, I am happy that there is a move towards that. As you know, the US president met with the President Putin in Anchorage. That is diplomacy, and the discussions, that is dialogue. And after that, there have been exchanges. Mr. Witkoff from the US side has gone to Moscow. The Americans have had discussions with the European partners and with the Ukrainians. So that is also dialogue and diplomacy. So attempts are being made to find a solution. We should be supportive of these attempts, in fact, supportive of USA and Russia trying to resolve the issues between them. Both of them are our good friends, and there's no reason for us to see them at loggerheads. In fact, it is in our interest if USA and Russia come together and find solutions that are attractive to them and which would undoubtedly also be beneficial to us. So yeah, let's go down the path of dialogue and diplomacy, and let's hope that this interaction that has opened up between USA and Russia at the very highest level leads to solutions that are peaceful, etc. As to our role, I think unless we are asked, we shouldn't venture to play a role. The dialogue and diplomacy is underway. Only if we are asked, because as you know, when someone tries to mediate in our things also, we say, hey, only upon request. We are not interested in any mediation on anything. So similarly up here, I think if we are asked, we can provide some support and solutions, but the process is underway of talking to each other, of finding diplomatic solutions. Our aim should be to encourage it and to help it move forward. And if requested by both sides, certainly I'm sure our good officers would be there.